The jungle was alive with whispers of death. Shadows flickered between the towering trees, moving like ghosts under the alien moonlight. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth, and somewhere in the distance, the chittering of unseen creatures echoed through the darkness. A pair of glowing eyes watched from the canopy above, scanning the land below with a hunter's precision. The Yautja, the ultimate predator, had arrived on Eternia. This was no ordinary hunt. The Yautja was an elite warrior, a veteran of countless battles across the stars, and this world was a new challenge, one unlike any before. The creature's technology had intercepted whispers of a powerful being, a warrior whose strength surpassed anything it had ever faced. The Yautja lived for such battles. Honor was earned through combat, through the blood of the strongest prey. And so, it had tracked the legend to the heart of Eternia. That legend was He-Man. Far beyond the jungles, within the golden walls of the royal palace, Prince Adam stood at the balcony gazing out over Eternia. The cool night wind ruffled his blonde hair, carrying with it the faint scent of rain. To most, he was the carefree prince, more interested in leisure than war, but those who truly knew him understood the weight he carried. Beside him, the Sorceress of Grayskull materialized in a shimmer of blue light, her expression grave. "Adam," she said, her voice carrying a tone of warning, "a great warrior has come to Eternia, one not of this world. He is unlike any foe you have ever faced." Adam turned to her, his blue eyes narrowing. "What kind of warrior?" She extended her hand, revealing a glowing vision. It showed a towering figure, cloaked in alien armor, with dreadlock tendrils hanging from its head. Its eyes burned with an eerie yellow glow, and in its clawed hands, it wielded a pair of gleaming wrist blades. Then came the most disturbing part. The scene shifted, revealing the creature standing atop a pile of monstrous Eternian corpses, trophies dangling from its belt. "This being is called the Predator," the sorceress continued. "It hunts only the most powerful of warriors, and now it seeks you." Adam clenched his fist. He had battled Skeletor's hordes, faced monstrous beasts, and even fought gods. But this was different. This was not a conqueror or a monster seeking destruction. This was a hunter, and he was its prey. "I will deal with it," Adam said, stepping forward. "If it seeks the strongest warrior on Eternia, then it shall find him." The sorceress nodded. "Be wary. This is no ordinary battle. This is a fight for survival." With that, she vanished into the night, leaving Adam alone with his thoughts. He took a deep breath, then reached for the sword strapped to his back. Raising the sword of power high, he called upon its magic. By the power of Grayskull, lightning split the sky and golden energy surged through his veins. His muscles swelled, his form grew taller. And as the transformation completed, the soft-spoken prince was gone. In his place stood He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. The Yautja stood atop a rocky cliff, watching the transformation from afar. It had studied its prey well. The target had power, but power alone did not win battles. Tactics, strategy, and precision, these were what made a true hunter. The predator activated its cloaking device, vanishing into the night like a phantom. The hunt had begun. He-Man stepped into the jungle, his sword gripped firmly in his hands. The thick vegetation stretched endlessly before him, a maze of trees, vines, and mist. The sorceress had warned him, but now that he was here, he could feel it. He was being watched. The first attack came silently. A three-pronged laser sight locked onto his chest, and in a flash of red light, a plasma bolt exploded against his armor. He-Man staggered back, feeling the heat burn against his skin. Before he could react, something moved in the trees, a blur of motion, nearly invisible, but there. He swung his sword in a wide arc, slicing through the air where the figure had been. But he hit nothing. A low, clicking growl echoed through the jungle. The predator was testing him, studying him. He-Man gritted his teeth. "Show yourself, coward," he bellowed. A second plasma shot fired, but this time, He-Man was ready. He dodged with superhuman speed, rolling to the side as the blast scorched the ground where he once stood. He grabbed a massive tree trunk and hurled it toward the source of the shot. The tree shattered against something mid-air, sending a shower of sparks through the darkness. The predator's cloaking flickered, And for a brief moment, He-Man saw it, a monstrous, armored figure crouching in the branches, its glowing eyes fixed on him. Then it leapt. Blades extended, the Yautja came down like a living nightmare, aiming to slice through He-Man's flesh. But He-Man was faster. He raised his sword just in time, catching the Predator's wrist blades with a shower of sparks. The two warriors locked in a deadly struggle, muscles straining against alien steel. For the first time in its long history, the Yautja felt something it rarely experienced: resistance. This prey was strong, stronger than anything it had hunted before. The Predator clicked its mandibles, acknowledging the challenge. Then, without warning, it activated its wrist gauntlet. A pulse of energy erupted, throwing He-Man back. He crashed into a tree, the impact shaking the ground. Before he could recover, the Predator was on him again, slashing with terrifying speed. He-Man barely managed to parry, his sword clashing against the warrior's weapons. Blades met steel, strength met skill, and as the battle raged through the jungle, one thing became clear: this was not just a hunt, this was war.
Are you just watching?
Subscribe, please.
The jungle burned. The trees that once stood tall were now splintered wrecks, torn apart by the sheer force of battle. Smoke and embers filled the air, casting flickering shadows as two warriors clashed in the heart of the battlefield. He-Man stood firm, his chest rising and falling with steady, measured breaths. His armor was scorched, his skin bruised, but his grip on the sword of power remained unshaken. Across from him, the Predator crouched low, its wrist blades gleaming under the dim jungle light. The Yautja had underestimated this prey. Never before had it fought a warrior capable of withstanding such punishment. Plasma bolts had been dodged, razor-sharp blades had been parried, and raw strength had been met with something even greater. But the Predator did not know defeat. It had one final trick. With a sudden motion, it slammed its gauntlet, activating its self-destruct sequence. A shrill countdown began, alien symbols flashing red on its wrist. If it could not take this prey as a trophy, it would take everything. He-Man's eyes widened. He recognized the intent. This was not just an attack. This was a last desperate attempt to erase him. No, He-Man growled. He refused to let this warrior claim victory through destruction. Summoning all his power, he charged. The Predator slashed with its wrist blades, but He-Man was faster. He caught the alien's arm mid-swing, twisting it with brutal force. Bones snapped. The Predator roared in pain, its mandibles flaring in fury. With one final swing of his sword, He-Man struck. The sword of power cleaved through armor, flesh and bone, severing the Yautja's head from its shoulders. A geyser of green blood sprayed into the air as the Predator's body collapsed to the ground. Motionless, the countdown on its wrist flickered. Then it died. Silence fell over the battlefield. The hunt was over. He-Man exhaled slowly, lowering his sword. He had faced many foes, warlords, beasts, gods, but this had been different. This was not an enemy of conquest or chaos. The Predator had come only for the fight, for the honor of battle. And in the end, He-Man had proven himself the ultimate warrior. Without another word, he turned and walked away, leaving the jungle behind. The strongest prey had become the last hunter standing.